Welcome back, friends, to not EU. We're back to Paris in here where we are, but we're back to APAC. T1 versus Reject is our second game for today, and T1, for the first time ever, they actually look like they could be in the top 4 and qualify to the playoffs to make it to the upcoming North American Major. More info on that quite soon. TM registered, whatever you want to call it. Reject with 3 points. They might perhaps maybe sneak their way in, but it actually depends on how well they do today against T1. Because if they beat T1 and get all 3 points, they'll have the head-to-head, and that means that if they win the next day against Fnatic, which is a possibility, then Reject could actually make it through. So, all over the place for this one.
The likelihood of that is
very slim, but you know what? It's a fun story to tell, and that's why we are here, Fabian, aren't we? Reject.
We are. Yeah, well, I have a little funny story because last Playday, when we were watching Reject play, Jack thought they had a new player. Naughty Meg, GG. Naughty Meg, that was the new player. No, but honestly, Reject.
Naughty Meg is a good little player. That's all I'm gonna say.
Actually, they did pretty well. They beat Fav in the last game on Villa, and they actually beat Fav again on Oregon in Japan League. So they've actually not been doing that poorly lately. Their early games were even against top teams that we consider, well, at least top 3. And then they had the washout against Sandbox, but it seems like they forgot about that one rather quickly and then just took Fav down. I think that they have a lot to improve still, and I think that they have a lot more to show. Salty was ecstatic after their win last time, and you could see how much it means to them. So I just expect more of the same from them. And honestly, as Jack has predicted today, I don't see it too far away. Actually, might be an upset.
I think that's the nicest compliment Fabian's ever given me.
Ever. And you've known him
Sometimes you do the good things.
Sometimes you are a nice person, but that's like 5% of the time.
Not very often.
Well, Jack.
Yes.
Reject. I mean, you were the one that was kind of saying, okay, they can actually take it. What is it owed to? Because if you're looking at T1 right now, like, they're doing quite well. It's a big surprise. What is there that Reject has that can actually stop T1?
I think we've got very... normally I talk about stylistic clashes of teams where they're different in their styles.
Okay.
Today we've got 2 teams that remind me of each other when they both play. They both play this very aggressive brand of Siege, which is never smart, it's never considered, it's never playing power positions. It's always forward, forward, or forward, flank, 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 gunfight, gunfight, gunfight. And I really think that Reject can capitalize on the fact that they get caught up in the mayhem. When those rounds, descended to mayhem, which they will because T1 often do that as well, I think Reject can come out on top because that's where they seem comfortable. Where they've seemed uncomfortable is when teams have sat behind shields in power positions, made them play utility. T1 won't do that as much today, so I think there's a lot of opportunity for them there.
Then what is T1 supposed to do here today? Because it seems from everything I'm hearing from the 2 of you that it could actually be the upset, could actually be the big change, and that hypothetical situation that we we're just talking about, Fabian, could actually happen. How can T1 stop it?
I think the T1's adaptability have been really good so far, and we obviously showed that off on a clip in the last Playday. Honestly, I think that T1 overall is a better team, but there always the option and the space for these sort of upsets that we're expecting. I'm not saying that I'm expecting it. I'm saying it could happen. I would still wait 75% chance for T1 to take this game. That's how heavy I still think it is. But usually when you come in as this bottom team, you don't give them 25% even. But yeah, I just think that if T1 plays their game, they'll beat them. But React can always do the sort of things that it's not expected.
And I'm wondering how important the map is going to be for this series. Potentially quite important. So how about we take a look at our map bans. 9 maps in our pool. 8 are out, 1 is left. And who will have the last decision on it? It's T1. And they take away Chalet to take us to Oregon. A classic map in competition. And that means that Reject get to pick their starting side, and they went for defense. Jack, do the numbers support any theory here?
I think both teams, it's a very middle-of-the-road map. We consider Oregon a best-of-1 map, a middle-of-the-road map where it's becoming that checklist map when we talk about the battle of the tertiary sites. When T1 played Fnatic on Oregon, they only got 2 attacks. Is my only concern is that if they don't kind of show that up, they could be looking at a 4-2, even a 5-1 start for Reject on the defense. And both of these teams, I think this game will be won in the first half because both of these teams are confident teams.
Yeah. In Korean Open, they've actually been playing the game, obviously they've been playing the game.
So.
They've been playing Oregon twice the last week, so they have been playing Oregon quite a lot. I think it's a map that can fit both teams here. Reject obviously has a lot of footage to go through with their analytics and see what T1 does. But then again, we literally highlighted on this map the adaptability of T1, so I think it's a good map overall. I think we're in for a fun game.
Okay, well, you're talking about it could be a 50-50 map. There's a lot of information that Reject can use also on this T1, give or take on it. So what is there that Reject can actually exploit on the T1 side to take the victory today? Who has to also step up on the Reject side?
I think Reject individually, they've not been putting in kind of great performances. I think all of the players are currently negative. However, I think as a team, they really need to focus on shutting down Arakazi.
Yeah.
Because he's just been the lifeblood. You know, 11's kind of come into it a bit better in recent weeks,
much.
But the start of the season wasn't showing off. So if they can shut down Arakazi, because he is the big game player, like I said, T1 beat Fnatic 7-5 on this map, but only, one of those rounds was an Arakazi 3K. That goes the other way. You're talking about them losing to Fnatic.
What about Naughty Meg G? No time GG, by the way.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any players that we need to go into specifics on Reject. I think that they have to control their opponents today.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're forgetting a Memefi, I feel like, a little bit. He's been stepping up crazily well for T1. So there's 3 players that they need to watch out for. 11 haven't been doing that well, so might not count him in as much. But shut down one of the other 2, and I think you stand a much better chance.
It's Oregon for a map then. Thank you very much, boys, for it. Reject versus T1. We're ready to go and see how this will actually turn out in the server. Can Reject collect all 3 points, take down T1, and set themselves up for a potential top 4? Who knows? It can still happen. We've got Hapanam to take you through it. Enjoy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Milos. And yeah, we find ourselves here on Oregon. I've got a lot of curiosities about this game. Got a lot of curiosities because T1 are sometimes always battling at the bottom of the board.
Yeah, but didn't they already get just as many points over this stage as they were able to get over the last year?
They did.
Yeah, so there's definitely some improvements that we are seeing from the team. Who knows? Maybe we get to see them in the playoffs. And it would be great to see a big name like T1, of course, to make it to the majors one day. Either way.
I think the thing with Reject as well, and sure they got to win before they got some points. They put some pressure onto the board, but it
needs to be more than pressure.
It needs to be more than pressure. You need to keep the pace with the top teams. You've got to make a statement on your opening sort of entrance and introduction into this T1 scene. You have to make a statement. And that starts with the journey of 1,000 statements is made, but the journey of a big statement is made with 1,000 smaller statements.
Okay, yeah.
And beating T1 is a smaller statement. There's a phrase for you.
Very confusing one for a non-native English speaker.
It's very confusing.
I know which of which one it heads to.
I love you, no time. Nutmeg.
Nutmeg, yeah. Imagine us calling him that now as well.
Oh no,
that'd
be mean.
That'd be mean.
Well, it wouldn't be mean. It'd be funny, but
also, Fnatic, first team that got absolutely ruled out from making it towards those playoffs. Reject could be the second team if they lose here now. That means that T1 would also be able to confirm themselves if they grab a win here, as they would be back over Cyclops. 12 points should be just enough. So there's quite a lot at stake here. There is a potential rule out from the playoffs. No longer the major. Like, first of all, we would send the #1 team straight to the major.
We would.
Numbers 2 to 4 would be taken on 2 to 4 from APAC South, and the top 2 from the Asia. What's this? APAC South, the Asia Nationals, Southeast Asia. There we go. That's no longer the case. It's top 4 of APAC North, top 4 of APAC South. Both those teams, or all 8 of those teams, will be playing in those playoffs, and the top 4 will be making it to the majors. So, no more direct qualification, maybe to the upsetting of Damwon Kia. What are you humming about?
They're entirely locking off the rotation there onto Kitchen and towards Zulu. There's I guess I'll see if they do the hatch in the end and they try and just keep it, or if they're going to hold it as a rotate, because they've now opened the hatch above. But obviously that hatch above now, you're giving yourself angles, but they can wait with it. They've got to. There's got to be a way out with that M870 once.
Yeah, the hatch. The hatch is the way out for Salty.
Yeah, but
I think they want to do this just to make sure that, first of all, if they lose this area, often what you see is the sledge starts opening up. It's a quick rotation into the kitchen, which is then a quick rotation into the meeting. By keeping this close, you force them to use Heart Breach. And if they don't do that, they waste about 20 seconds to get from place A to B, which might be the difference maker in the end here. And as long as he can stay alive, I mean, he has the M870 shotgun. He can hold the big window for any jump-ins to shut them out. So with that, the top floor is relatively well under control as well.
Pressure either side of Zulu here. You can see Mephi's stacked up and they're getting some control over kitchen. They'll have a free reign in that space as soon as they've got clarity that nobody's upstairs, which they have that player going for the check now. There's a rotation and a drop. The MA70 fadeaway is able to open us up here. Rikaze is that first off the board. And Salty, once again, he's pulling out these plays that since day one have just been fun to watch.
Probably had not expected an M870 to try and challenge him through the opening he had just made, but T1 is not getting slowed down too much. They continue opening up these hatches. We do see some rotates back towards the side on Reject. Player on Harry Potter, I'm not quite sure. Salty is trying to make his way back up top towards the CCTV area, but Crazy Boy definitely taking some small amounts of pressure here. You have him at the top of the freezer stairs, still in a position where he could go for a bit of a late flank. He's holding close to the M870. His second player comes around the corner, finds Mephi as well, and that's a double kill for him with that M870 as he's retaking the top floor.
I mean, this is a player that's having a full fun explore of what Oregon offers here, all the way towards the top of the hatch, catches the drone and gets that open, and he doesn't really need to put the intense pressure onto it for now, but the fact that he's sort of there above that hatch means that they can't really play it comfortably. They don't know when they're going to get peeked by an MA70, and you can see them. They're having to reposition. They've still got PJH and Crazy Boy that are trying to get control of that hatch. They've got 11 on the back of the white stairs. He's trying to just pop bullets down towards that front-facing wall. They've got pings coming out towards it, and there's Salty once again. He's waiting and looking, and oh, there's the diffuser. A trip. No way! With an MA70 as the opening round, and well, it's locked off with a combination of a final kill on the site and Fresh on the desk going, nah.
Imagine the ace with the M870. That would have been surely a first in pro. He's walking out his eyes. He's completely done with it. He's not having it. The M870 working wonders there for Reject. They pick up their first offensive round, and I mean, he caught off a lot of people off guard, right? I mean, the first one, the Sledge was just looking through, did not expect the player to drop in, gets that kill. The Twitch afterwards, I believe the Finka now actually, just walking towards the freezer stairs. No information on whether or not he was there. After that, he rotated up, took out a bunch of drones, but also dropped into the meeting. He gets everybody whilst they're not looking at him. The only person that was in an active gunfight here is Arakazi, who dealt quite a bit of damage. But after that, he's been able to pick them up off guard. You see that? Finka just swaps over towards the CCTV. See someone running towards the hatch here. It's also an easy pickup. No one is watching him at that point. And then one through the door, but no one is watching him. He's just allowed to freely get these kills. And a quad kill. I mean, as a team, I would have maybe been like, you know, I mean, you want to get that win, but an M878 is also a great way to start off your game.
Imagine. I know a lot about Siege and a lot about Comp. Watched it for a long time.
Yep.
And I haven't seen any of it. I could say I've seen all of it. I've probably seen, 50% of total Comp Siege. But I would still have some confidence saying that if that had come together, that probably would have been the first M870 ace.
I have a feeling to say that as well, unless there might have been, M870 recruit rushers.
Yeah, maybe in like year one, season one. I'm sure Fabian's like, oh, you won. But I would have some confidence saying that that was almost the first ever comp M870 ace.
That's a good Fabian impression there.
Thank you.
Miss some spice, but we don't.
No, I'm a professional.
Either way, Reject, they got that first round, but it's not done yet. I mean, it's that basement. It's one of the best defensive sides on the board. So them ripping them apart with an M870 like that, I mean, it might be a great morale boost, but it's not going to be the end of all. Breach will be made, even though there is already a giant hole there. But Dake opens up. Arikaze loses his life. Well, at least they're not going to be able to completely barricade it off again anymore, though, because they have opened up with the hard breach.
Was that just a swing onto the...
It was a swing, yep.
Okay, we always expected this game to be quite aggressive. These two teams, in the way they sometimes structure is, for lack of a better way of putting it, a lack of structure. They throw themselves at the problem and try to get a solution out of it so far. And, you know, it's teething. It's the start of the comp year. Everyone's still trying to make their way through, and it's an aggressive meta. But it's very gun skill capable players here, and you know, so far T1, they're trying to find the pace. They're much more grouped up this time. They're in a better position to try and get some trades in. It seems like they're pushing towards an angular focus, as you pointed out before in the previous round. They lost sight of that play of the M870, and here they're making sure at least they're not going to suffer the same thing. But the loss of the sledge before I think any grenades had actually been rolled out is a bit of a danger.
First kill comes in, the plan's attempted as well. Salty coming around the corner with the FO12 is going to get one. Rotates around, wants to go more aggressive, spots the pre-fire to come through, gets a second kill as well. The shotguns absolutely raining supreme, but didn't know that the plant went down behind the foosball table. And as rotations are being made, PGH gets picked up as well. It's only up to Crazy Boy now in a 1v2 clutch, but the diffuser is stuck in a corner. There is verticality, but Crazy Boy's not going to be able to utilize that for now. He needs to swing around the corner, finds the first, and buys himself some time. The second player is chasing him down, though. He's near the diffuser. Does he have a clue? The pistol is out for no time, but he doesn't seem to be going for the swing yet. It is the Roni. There's only 6 seconds left for him to try and get onto that defuse, and he doesn't pick up the kill. Crazy Boy with an important clutch. But they could have just gone for the stick if they had the cover on point, which was a bit lacking there. And well, T1 still getting away with that round there, but that could have been a reject one as well.
Oh, that was so close as well to the breakdown. They had the angle from the opposite side. You could see the spray on the rotation on the top of white stairs, and you know that it's either going to sort of come from that angle, or it can obviously come across that front, the opposite side, towards the trophy door. But when you have trophy door, you have the ability to swing onto the two sides. We saw the traces go past. We also saw them have to reload not long after, and I wonder if the pre-fire there with the gun that 16 bullets goes very, very quickly in an SMG, and I think that was a bit of a punishment that was suffered there. T1, it was a very quick play and plant. They saw some openings, they saw they'd had a loss, and okay, well that's that response. As I said before, it's going to be a little bit of throw yourselves at the problem and see what comes together. Reject suffered it there. They got an early pick from that room, and then suddenly in a 5 versus 4, they're able to just charge in and get the diffuser down without too much of a confrontation. Yeah.
Well, there was a confrontation. It was inside the bedroom with an FO12 that suddenly just ran in and got a double kill, but it was not enough to stop it. Somehow, somehow unaware of the fact that the diffuser just got planted and only really being one place where it could be, not checking that, losing their life. Otherwise, it would have been a clear-cut round for Reject. But that's all things you can learn from. I mean, they are aggressive, they are effective with their shotgun play, and if I'm quickly looking over to the right, I think we might have one onto Salty again.
I think he's going to struggle to put it down. Was it Alamau who went 22 kills with FO12 in this round?
It could be. I mean, there is a lot of close corners to play it with, especially if you're on that roam, near those hallways, near security, near the freezer stairs. There's just so much you can do. Mephi, you got to be very careful here. They were able to pick up a fairly early kill from this exact same angle before. Seems like Reject is not going for it now, however. It's also a little bit of an exploration down below, looking to go maybe for a jump out onto this balcony.
Well, you can see them getting themselves set up with a bit of width. It's going to get popped open, and the impact trick comes through successfully this time around. They're not able to get their width. Nobody is overextending from Reject. They're going to play their cards a little bit closer to their hand, and sure, they have this stretch of players. They have this flank and possibility, but they're not throwing themselves in wild swinging into firefights the same way they've done in the opening 2 rounds. They know that they have to pay some awareness to the steady build-up of the T1 players, which is happening around the sides of this bedroom. 11 is holding the rotation underneath to make sure a shotgun doesn't appear. Crazy Boy's stacked up towards the double window, and Mephi is looking to try and apply some pressure here with 2 grenades in pocket. He's probably going to start trying to blow up the backside of Attic.
There's actually quite a bit of utility downstairs as well. So the classroom is castle barricaded off, reinforced off as well to provide a bit of cover for the rotates. And that might make 11 aware of the fact that there is currently 1 or 2 players down there, forcing him to hold that rotate. BGH just checked that very close corner, knows that is going to be saved. That is 1 step further into the actual side to go for a plant deck grenade. Bounced almost a bit too close for PGH's cover there. But there's going to be... Ooh. Oh, Salty. He's waiting right below the rotation here. The pings are coming through, but he might not know. Mephi, if you swing over, you're going to lose your life. No, he opens up. And Mephi is too quick on the trigger, finds him. And it's an entry here for T1.
Well, now they can try and push behind it, but they don't have that vertical control. And if you look across the floor, it's littered with holes. So Candy's going to see if he can try, but it's 11 on the door that locks him out. Now, where can you try and swing to? They don't have the read, don't have the call, and have themselves in a worse position than the last time a 5 versus 1 sprays up the white stairs. They know exactly where he is, and again, not many bullets in that gun and not many things you can see when you're entirely flashed out. This is likely going to be a team talk here. You can see them sort of pulling themselves back. There's nowhere really to go. The other side of Zulu is cut off as well. You are caught in a T1 trap, and here you played yourself a little bit more placid, and there was the potential moment of Salty to pop off. It was a gambit and a bit of breakdancing with an FO12, but it probably wasn't going to lead to anything. T1 will get this round and pull themselves back into the lead, but as we said at the beginning of the day, Oregon is a very balanced map. So, this is far from over.
It's far from over indeed. And as the time runs out there, it is T1 that brings it home. Of course, not the flawless. So the Hibana get killed earlier on. And oh, there it is. The kill comes true. And that is certainly a 2-1. It could have been a 2-1, however, for the side of Reject, especially with how round number 2 went. They could have been able to turn that around if there was a little bit more awareness. So there's no need to panic yet. And as we're headed towards the laundry room, we are going to be seeing them back in that basement where they were so effective with that M870 shotgun. Doesn't seem to be coming out this time unless Jaeger is going to be bringing this. I might be bringing the FO12 still because they have been quite a big fan of it. Quickly looking over, I believe it was indeed the FO12 shotgun. That would mean there's 3 shotguns on the board. 4 actually. The IT-12S on the board. Either way. Default setup being made, and Reject this time not going to be completely able to rely upon an M870 quad kill, as I believe they're not quite setting up the same way in CCTV with the reinforcement, with the mute jammers. Instead, they're going to be more onto the actual side. They saw there was some weaknesses there, really relied on that player up there, the M870, and realized that they cannot do that again. So the hatch this time gets reinforced off rather than opened and played. That mute jammer might have actually caught a Twitch drone there. I'm not quite sure. Was quite around the corner. It is in there. You just can't see it. The angle is a bit worrying
it's
there.
Lost in there.
But Crazy Boy is putting up some early pressure here, and I wonder if No Time has heard it. Now, normally it is a smoke or a mute playing behind that shield, and as the Twitch drone is coming around the corner, will be spotted out by No Time. Yeah, there you have it. So he fell back. He was waiting for Candy to be done with his preparation, so at least the elbow was being manned. And then that is a good thing, because sometimes you see it not manned at all, and that means they can just rush in as soon as they realize it's clear and there's no one behind that shield.
All right, we still have these shotguns. We still have this pressure and presence that can be applied as soon as anyone pops their head round either corner or a hatch. Locked in on Zulu, which is that bendy corridor that makes its way down the core on the top of white stairs. It gives you a lot of rotation. You can pull your way back down to Freezer if you want to. You can, well, try and take something a little bit more aggressive if you really want to, and that's the route. It's down to you, but it's based on the pressure that's applied against you, and here it is on the bottom of the tower. He's just swinging his way up the stairs and making sure that he can kind of keep them guessing. If you get a lucky timing off here, well, it's monumental to get that first pick. But you also have that ADS, that mute jammer. You need to make sure you play to your advantage. Yeah, probably not going to put your head up there again in a second.
Now, there was a C4 earlier that popped, and it might have been for a bit of a distraction. Don't know quite where it popped off. I believe that might have been the T2 area.
Is that 2 shotguns?
No, it's not 2 shotguns. It's 1 shotgun and then 416 right behind him.
Not
so
the M870.
Going to be able to put up quite some calibers, the attacker. So there it is. It's T3. So they hope someone was repelling in. Not the case, of course, but it will still distract them just a little tiny bit there. As now the first floor is being taken into control by T1. Hatches will start opening up, and that means that an execute is very near, but they just need to get themselves into the right positions. And as a rotate comes around towards blue, Candy is in an absolute... Mafia already all the way downstairs. The pillar is not being watched at all, and this gives him just free entry into the side.
Yeah, that's it. He's able to get himself all the way into E-Box, but he's locked out by Salty with a pop-off. There's the response, the return. Arakaze has that angle. They're no longer suffering single picks, but the big rotation is coming behind them with the FO12, and the timing is something that works in their favor. They've got to see if they can try and get this landed. There's PJH and Crazy Boy getting one apiece. Take bites back and buys some time, but Arakaze instantly catches that Ella sneaking around on the back door, leaves just the mirror. C4 in pocket. Can't quite get the connection. Arakaze from the back line. A pillar connects with every single which way, and the only way is up for T1 right now. 3 rounds in a row after that false start.
Yeah, that's it, right? Right now, T1 seems to be in complete control of this matchup here. Reject not really being able to get everything done here. I mean, they were challenging those back stairs for quite a while. Then they fell off, but they also just abandoned the pillar, which is quite dazzling to me, because suddenly Mephi is down there, and that allows you to just push on. And of course, he was the entry def, so he didn't quite have the effect that it might have wanted to, but if you have that ground, that means everything behind you is safe. That means the rest of your team can start pushing up, and that means that the pressure is truly on. And Reject not able to deal with that. Gunfights going out of their way, just checking those corners, going for the pre-fires if you saw someone, or if you know where one is.
It was strange. It was strange to hand over all that territory, because you're looking at them, sure, they've got open E-Box hatch. There was still utility on pillar. There was still utility on the stairs itself.
There was no reason to fall back.
Exactly.
I mean, there was some people in barrels, right? And it's always a bit of a trouble if they sneak past the smoke, but then you deal with that as it goes. If you just completely abandon the pillar, and we said it before when Oregon just came back, the pillar on that basement side might be the most important point in that side and in the attack, because it just allows you to cut down the hallway. So the freezer rotation is cut off. It allows you to start pushing towards the side. It allows you to open up the wall, which you then can use to look into the side from the staircase, and it allows you to push into E-Box and blue. There's so many access points just from that one single pillar that is just crucial to hold on to as a defender, because otherwise you give so much freedom away to the attackers. And they failed to do that. What is back, however, is the M870 shotgun and Salty.
Yeah, we'll see if this one connects the same way it did before, but you can see there is a keen awareness. They've gone back to plan A, because, to be fair, plan A worked very well, but it was built around the back of a quad kill on an M870 and a loose player that T1 just did not sweep up. T1 was so disconnected from, I guess, what Salty was doing, but also what they were doing. You can see they have an awareness this time around. They're making sure that they drone out all the swings around. Arakaze was the first locked off, and he just runs on by, and, well, he's going to open up that angle, but he might not try and get so aggro against it. He knows how it can go. So at this point, he's instead going to try and do a little bit more of a spread of damage. There is still that player beneath him, but it's the grenade that catches off, and that is that connecting player, I believe, at the top of white stairs. That is a loss now. Salty is really locked in. If he tries to find a slink away, he's got to make sure he connects with Arakaze above.
That was on a freezer player, indeed, who was playing on those staircases there. It has been taken out, and that was the cover always, but small tap the sledge again, deals a little bit of damage, potentially swings around the corner and just gets that kill. You know what? Let's just go upstairs instead. There is no point of holding back. Arakaze seems to be very well aware, though. But at some point, he will have to fall off. And a drone will come around the corner, gives away that game. He needs to play more passively. He sees Ibana come around the corner. He finds that as well. Salty just absolutely insane with the M870. And there's a diffuser down as well. So they need to come and recover that. And he'll just play that close. He'll just wait for them to come around the corner as he picks them up one by one. I mean, why is this man not on that M870 permanently? Why is he even swapping to other guns? Because all 9 kills so far seem to have come from shotguns.
Why can he hold this so well, but they cannot hold pillar? They're so much more dedicated to these points and positions that just aren't, I guess, around the site. If you had him doing those sort of bits with a similar sort of gun, or just something that he's comfortable with on a pillar site, even if he just holds out for the extra 20 seconds, that could convert that round before into something way more successful. Here, he's done the groundwork, but he's done it so much further away, sure, but it was built on movement, it was built on creativity, it was built on sort of adapting to the pressure that was coming from, and that is exactly the sort of player that you need in those power positions. There's still a bit of a pop of pressure, there's a run and a rush of blue here, trying to get themselves in to get get the plant down. Crazy Boy suffers and is dropped as he tries to burn through the fire. There is a quick pickup with a shotgun. Arakaze puts us into a 1 versus 1, but it is no time. That just catches just a little bit extra time at the end there to find another round for Reject. 3-2.
Now, both rounds, they won on the defense. I don't want to say it, but are because of our M870 shotgun.
It did well, but
it did very well.
I mean, the very opening round, no one went for him. He was just he got that opening kill, and that was the only time bullets were otherwise fired against him. The second time there, they at least tried to go for it.
Yeah, but the thing, how do you deal with a shotgun? It's either by pre-firing them because you know they're out in the open, or by using utility to displace them, try and make them to rotate, catch them off while they do. You do not take a head-on gunfight against a shotgun on less than 5 meters range. Everybody here knows how to point and click. That's because they are pro players, right? It's what they do for a living.
It's the top of the list of things that you have to tick before you're allowed to play.
And you have an M870, which one-shots point and click, right?
Great at point and click.
Yeah, so it's a very great gun for the point and click adventure game that Salty was playing. So why do you take the gunfights 1-on-1-on-1? Why do you go 1-on-1? Why do you not try and pre-fire? First of all, you have more fire capabilities than he has with that shotgun. You also have grenades. You also have flashbangs. You also have other pieces of utility that, you know, might have been a great way to use and get rid of him, but none of that done, and that allows him to pick up a second round with the MA70. Good news for T1 though, he's back on the MP5, so that means they do not really have to worry about those one-shots coming in from just a quick pump.
Wow, he's holding close here. He's waiting to see if he can get the strike. And just hoping a head pops round wider and wider. But he doesn't quite get the full connection. Maffy with a gun that just keeps going. And now they can try and build behind it. They went for that early strike. There is such an aggressive position here played by that player, and they know they've got his number. He has to just sort of sit and wait, and somehow is able to slink his way out of there. Take, they really had his number for a second, and he has that Twitch drone as it goes for an aggressive zap on him. They've forced him into a different position, but with Candy holding this angle and with still some aggression below, I mean, it's just a 5 versus 4, but T1 haven't technically made a huge gain in terms of the building yet.
No, they haven't yet, and they're only now trying to get rid of any piece of utility or a player that is close on that reinforced wall. Doesn't seem to be there, and now it is going to be a gas canister that pops off. It's supposed to stop them from truly moving in, but with the opening that is already there, they do not necessarily need to get the heartbeat shot. It would always be nice, you open yourself up a little bit of a wider angle. Need to be very careful there. What are you doing? You just got spotted, you pull out the grenade, and Candy just sneaks by, picks up the kill, and somehow survives.
It's the first time we've seen them hold onto trophy like this as well. Usually they've just sort of handed over as free territory, and they've read that T1 has read that, who have pretty much continually just swanned their way into the bedroom and gotten the control that way. This time, the response from Reject has been a little bit more forthright. They've made sure that as soon as anyone is trying to get control of bedroom, there's at least some pressure inside trophy that has to be cleared. Still ping, still pressure, and still a little bit of cold feet here from T1 that are trying to funnel their way in. Nikki has this close quarters. As soon as someone tries to enter and from walk-in, they're going to get dropped, and there's not really much Crazy Boy can do here because, well, nobody else is moving into the angle. They're happy to sit here, Reject, and wait for the pressure to come to them.
There is a lot of drones left on the side of T1, but none of them seem to be currently in a position where they can stop this from happening. And as the far breach gets opened up, that's the moment to swap towards the SMG because, you know, it's a bit further now, about 2 meters. That might just be the difference maker there. But as the smoke pops in, it will force them to at least hold off for a little bit longer here. The holding tight. Someone in the meantime coming from above, but decides that it's time to go back up towards the armory stairs. A smoke canister will stop them from truly pushing in, but Take just swings around the corner at the same time the nitro pops, and they will find a kill there.
Very clever play there. Made sure they had a response to the smoke. It was doubled down, and as I said, this lockout is starting to lock in. T1, 10 seconds, and suddenly a 3 versus 1. They just need to try and find that diffuser plant. The cover is over on Trophy Door, though. 11 has the angle when they needed it most, and this is what we talked about before, and the attackers show how to hold it. Just saw a couple of pixels overhead. All they needed, 4-2. T1 have been able to take the pace here onto their half, and now it's time to see if they can try and hold on, because Reject started to learn some lessons there.
This might be where it ends very quickly though, Emmy, because the 2 rounds that Reject have been able to win both came down to a player playing with a shotgun that they were unable to deal with. Right? They were hunting them down one by one. Yep. That is what basically dissected them from winning those rounds. Now it's T1 on their defense. It is Reject coming into the attack, and they might be a bit more successful if they are the hunted rather than the hunters in such a situation here, because now they get to play these close kind of angles. 11 also picking up the Thorn, but not with the M870, using the 50 cal Uzi. Still a hard-hitting gun. It's very satisfying to play with, actually. Candy with that drone. He's knowing exactly what's going on. He's not daring to move. Afraid of making a noise there.
Yeah, you just gotta hide. See,
11 seems to be aware that there is a drone, though.
Smells it.
Was looking around, couldn't find it, so proceeds to continue with the setup. And this is where we get to see it. Reject, you need to win most of your attacks here. You need to win 5 if you want to lock it off straight away. Or 4 if you want to push for OT and at least pick up a point here against T1. And you need points. Anything less than, well, even 2 wouldn't be enough. Then they need a full 3 if they want to be in the fight for the playoffs. Anything less is going to be ending that run for at least this stage.
So, can we get a little bit of that pace that they opened up with on their defense here? Salty is looking for the fight over the top run. It's start on the top floor with Dorms being that opening point of pressure. And they're going to see if they can try and go for what is a pretty standard and straightforward. At least they're eyeing up what was walking, but maybe slightly changing their mind here. They do obviously have the capabilities of the Heartbreach. They've got the Twitch as well, which has been pretty constant. There's mute jammers that'll just stop this, but a well-placed grenade should clear anything that would otherwise stop the run through against this wall. And there's the burn, the flashes, there's the ADS is caught out, and there's the roll of a grenade. There's the catch, the Wamai disc.
Yeah, Magnet just activated in time. They need to quickly follow up, and they do, and that means it has now been taken care of. Tadaniki can then start to open up, but extra magnets are maybe being attempted. No, Mephi will just fall off. Will rotate back towards the attic. They'll hold a long angle from there on. If Crazy Boy manages to get close towards the white stairs, or PGH for that matter, they might be able to find some success there as well. But Salty, he's playing on this angle watch here, spots out Crazy Boy, but he gives away his position as a result, and he needs to slightly rotate around. Goes for another tight angle, spots out a player, but the pre-fire misses. And now they definitely know Salty's on this big window here.
All he has to do is hold. He knows that him being in this position puts T1 in a tricky one. You can see there's a bit of rotation that's happening underneath as well, and it's potentially a big one. 11. He's eyeing himself up in case someone goes for a bit of a plant. They're trying to work out where the kit is, but with the work, as I said, done on walk-in, that is entirely where they're focusing themselves. Tadaniki is just going to ping out that player on that corner there, making sure they have that awareness, drop the diffuser, and just goes for the firefight themselves. Drive in, go back, recollect. They had an idea, and Arakaze has a response. The instant trades are popping off either side. Salty, in the meantime, has popped his way inside the site. It's a 2 versus 3. They're trying to keep the pressure hot, and there it is. The drive comes through from Take. 11 is all that's left, and with a bit of a scrappy firefight, it's given the game away on where he is. He can't quite find out where the plant is, and they know his location, so they're going to instead go for the different adaptation of their own. They don't even find it. No time was watching, and there it is. That pace from Reject opens up here on their attack, the same as it did on their defense.
The explosion, very much necessary. I mean, you know, they were stuck because of that player behind the bunk beds. There was the ping coming in from the big window. You saw the thermite watching from the trophy door. And, you know, they just needed to get that kill. That's it. As soon as they got it, Sledge jumps into the big window, runs into the bedroom, gets the kill out there. Suddenly the whole side is opened up, and you can actually go for a plant. It doesn't really matter if you get traded out, if you get that bunk bed player, because getting that player was the most important part, because that allows the double window player to push through, and suddenly you have control of the entire bedroom. 4-on-3, Reject have got their first out of 5 rounds. They need to stay in the fight here for the playoffs. 4 more necessary before T1, of course, picks up 2. Seeing the basement hold now coming out. Again, I was going to say the tarp's getting destroyed. It's not something you do all the time see, but it's due to the sound. It makes a different sound if it's on the concrete rather than if it's on the tarp.
I remember the first time seeing that being done. I think it was Helby that answered our question of why, and it's because of sound. It's so, and imagine being able to pick up the different audio of knowing when they're on the specific tarp, going for the swing versus.
Although
Another level.
people on Reddit afterwards said, but why would you then remove it? Because if they're on the tarp, you know exactly where they are instead of concrete. And it's like,
for the defenders,
it's for the defenders. They want to be able to move up close.
They want to get close.
See, they have that shotgun, right? So you can swing that door if they're about to be pushing through, get those instant kills. That's why you get rid of it. Either way, not that it matters much now. Going to see whether or not it will be used, but it seems like Reject is wanting to go for a complete different take here. First kill comes in, Tadaniki will find PGH. That seems to be a roamer that has been caught off, and yeah, exactly. He's going to be on those laundry stairs. Might have swung a little bit too wide there and got punished for it. Taka already quite close as well, is looking to be headed into the freezer stairs. There's limited actual challenges coming out from the side of T1. There's a lot of ground being given away to Reject here.
It's kind of a strange early loss there from the side of T1. It's a player that, you know, I guess they went to try and laser beam with that Vector, which can do it, but you've opened up this pocket of space. You've given them this advantage here, and they're going to be able to massively drive that on a trade game, because we know that when they push ferociously. They might have some disconnects, but as we've just seen, it doesn't matter when it comes down to a team that at least knows 3, 2, 1, go. That means go, and there's no caution in that approach. The drones trying to find their way across here and looking for anybody that might be locked in. That back shield gives them some control over Freezer, but with those ADSs slowly slimming and slinking away because of the work of a Twitch drone, the Flores doubles down. It's a double destruction here of drones. Now Arkazi's forced into a corner.
Yeah, he's definitely stuck in there now, and Reject is starting to prepare. Grenades are being cooked in. One tossed into the small cubby. No one in there because it just exploded. They know that's going to be safe. A second one will be tossed into the hallway. Might find a Jaeger there. Mephi just runs away in time. Not properly cooked by Salty there. That could have been a very important kill, and opening up basically the freezer to be taken by the side of Reject. The time, 40 seconds, is slowly starting to, well, run out here, and it seems like a hatch drop is on the process here. Candy is inside blue, needs to be very careful, but 11 from Harry Potter gets the first clean kill, finds a second as well. He's looking for a third onto those main stairs. If he finds that, certainly the round will be over here for Reject.
That SMG shreds and tears him with 20 seconds. He's got eyes all over the shop. You can see a huge rotate is coming through from Reject, and it gets cut off by Arakaze. There's Mephi being dropped down. No time. No time. The kit is cold right at the bottom of Pillar. They at least pick up the trade, but with 2 other players left, has to try and find a 3 even. Has to try and find all of them, and, well, they're not really giving him anything. T1, they're able to just keep that 2-round buffer, 5-3. They're making sure they have a stretch here, but are they going to return up to dorms, or do they risk their tertiary?
That's it. They do want to go up to the top, and a tactical timeout will be called actually by T1. Now, this might be to discuss that top floor or the tertiary site. What are we going to do? What do we need to improve at? Because this is what went wrong. Of course, they knew there was a player in bunk. That one got taken care of. After that, the push came in. There's some ways to deal with it. You could, for example, put some explosives underneath that window. You could put up a frost mat around the corner just to try and find them if they push through. What you could also do is make a half rotate on the wall. If they want to push into the bedroom again, they have to jump over. It's not something that's ideal for the attackers, but every single thing you bring is also, of course, going to be hindering you on the defense if you need to use it later on. So they need to make the right concessions if they want to go back to the top floor. Now, for a second there, I actually did see the first floor being locked in, but because the game has been paused now, they could still change that. That might also be the case. Of course, we'll find out in just a couple of seconds, because I cannot quite read it from the screen of Arakazi on the back there. I think that's Mephi, yeah. Now I'm the one taking care of the seating.
Yeah,
plan.
now you've got to be the one that breaks it down. Impossible to do for Reject. I don't think they're in the same place.
No, I know Candy's playing Hibana, though, based on the operator cards.
Yeah.
But that's about all I can get out here. And now we just wait. We wait and see what site will be chosen, and then we can start to discuss what they might have been talking about here. So we're headed. Oh, both teams go for attack timeout. So we go 45 to 45.
This is like tactical pit stops.
Yeah, it's like the undercut and the overcuts coming through. However, the thing with the tactical timeouts is, and correct me if I'm wrong, admins all over the world, but I believe that if T1 calls a timeout, Reject is also allowed to talk with that coach. So it basically turned into a 1 minute 30 talk. with the team.
It seems like Reject are listening
Yeah,
to their coach. There's a little bit of back and forth now. But the coach is just sort of getting them clued in. And I guess they just want to have a response to the response. They want to make sure that, you know, because it's also that mental game. It's also that idea of like, yeah, you guys are talking. We're also
talking as well.
And we know we know, but now you know that we're talking. Oh, breaking. Breaking news from production.
T1 still has a timeout apparently, so
now it
was Rejects.
Throw all of our gags and bits out the window. Yeah, that was.
We've had a minute 30 of a timeout now.
I have to change my notes production, and I write with pen. I write with Milosh's pen. He doesn't know I took this off the desk when he left. I forgot my pen again.
You just told him no. He's listening.
Yeah, I know he's listening. Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
It's a reject timeout. It wasn't a T1 tactical. We're ahead. Let's talk about it. Timeout. It was a reject timeout.
Okay. Well, I mean, that happens as well.
It happens. It's not the most egregious thing.
So we don't have the tactical timeout in that case. It's just a single tactical timeout, but both wanted to call it. But probably reject was earlier, so it's going to be counting as that. Either way, we are headed into the first floors. Not headed straight up to the back again. Probably want to sail this one through first, then go down to the basement. The thing about it, though, for reject is they need to win every site now. They need to win all three if they want to be making it to playoffs. There's, of course, more at stake for reject. There's also relegations at the end of the year, so maybe they're already with their hands, all right, we won't make the playoffs. Let's just get as many points as we possibly can out of this, which, you know, they have the access to right now, because you can lose an extra round if you want to not play one of the sides. So it's literally what it will be. We don't know yet. Maybe they'll still be in. Maybe they'll go out at the end of it. We'll find out. Either way, reject still in the attack, and we've seen their explosions worked out quite well. So let's see if we can get some more of that. German taken out. It's going to be allowing for a push to come through. Now, with those serial laser gates out there, it's going to be very hard to actually get an impact through, because those will be activated and will catch off the impact going through. So with that, they basically handicapped themselves a little bit there. It was almost impossible to get an impact through. Of course, there is two on the side of Crazy Boy, so mistakes, maybe, not quite sure. Maybe they just want to make sure that they waste extra utility before they go for the execute. There's multiple different opportunities for that.
Here it starts to build itself behind. The man buried on the back of sandbags, trying to keep themselves alive for as long as possible, because with those discs, well, they're more useful the longer they're alive, and it's a double stack of burn of that information and utility here as they're trying to utilize the drones and everything to burn through the arena gates, which then have to be followed up by all the calls and the rest, which then have to be followed up by PJH with the swing with those smoke canisters. You're really stacked in a tricky situation.
Everybody's downstairs.
Salty might be that spray round here. There's some awareness of the player coming through, and you can see PJH suffers on the stage itself, but as Salty can win out this engagement that is actually pulled a little bit further away. 11 is tucked in, and the Thorn gives the game away. There it is, the Razor Bloom just sort of reveals Salty's presence, and that puts a hinder with 45 seconds. Tadaniki, they're going to see if they can try and formulate their way through onto the stage.
So also trying to open up now. Mephi coming on a big flank here from the armory stairs. Not quite sure how he managed to make it up, but that might be a difference maker here. Salty trying to open up that hatch to provide cover for his teammates. Might actually do the complete opposite here if he gets picked up. The time plant is going to be attempted here. Mephi is coming around the corner as well, and that might be a great turning point. With 45 seconds on the clock, and we'll be counting down.
Well, there it is, a post plant and bodies down. It is a 3 versus 3. The technical body went all the way, but now it's so tricky to try and get that back in. PJH is going to smoke it off. They have control of Attic. They have control of the kitchen swing, and there's a huge rotate from 11 coming through, but 30 seconds. Time is ticking, and the reveal of the drone game gives the fact that Arakazi's there. They're holding onto the window. They're able to actually slip past, but they reconvene on the door. Arakazi's trying to go for the retake. 17 seconds, and still with some pressure onto the tower itself, and still with that hold from above. They're going to try and long arm it. They're breaking the hatch, and that's an important take there. It's all down to No Time, but he has no time. Sprays through both! No Time, and there it is. Pulls himself out, clutches it for reject, and a huge double kill.
They should have been aware as well that he was outside. The bug was spotted earlier on. Maybe you should have taken that fight a bit more aggressively towards the door. Stop him from what he just did there. The double spray down. And of course, the time, it was still running down, but 5 seconds left on the clock as soon as he got the the counter defusal, which means there is no time for anybody else to get back on it. And that means Reject now 5-4. Gives them a little bit back into this game here. 3 more rounds, and the dream is still alive to reach the playoffs. But Arakaza here, this was, first of all, important. The hatch opened up, let them know one was still up there. At this point, I thought, okay, they should be able to have this. It's just no time here. But no time made sure that there was no time left for T1. As he picked up the counter defusal there, and the player still on the staircase, just too late to actually try and challenge back.
Oh, it was close though. T1, it was so close to putting herself onto map point and guaranteeing a point, but you do not have the one site you've been able to take on your defense so far. You're going to return to dorms where things fell apart suddenly. It was a bit of a break-in. Salty was inside the site, and sure, we've seen that adaptation with the play around the Thorn, and I'm wondering if that's going to be something that just tries to be a little bit more of a rebuff against that play, that aggression from Reject, where they sort of just suddenly throw themselves in. There has been a bit of back and forth, there has been a bit of scrappiness, but we said it at the very start of this, that is what this game was always going to be, regardless of the map and the play space you put these two teams on. It's two teams that do get chaotically aggressive at points.
Quick entry here from the Twitch drone is going to be able to take so much utility. Just look at that, 2 Mew Jammers and an ADS. A third one is going to get spotted, but the Twitch drone will fall eventually. But did its job there is basically suddenly make the trophy door a lot weaker for the side of T1. Drones can now go through, grenades can do as well, and well, the opening up on the game's wall is also able to be made due to that single Twitch drone. So good stuff from Candy there. Let's see what else he can pick up. He still has a second drone, of course, so might be able to find the remaining ADSs that are placed on the top of white, if he is successful.
Now, there is the break onto walk in, and there's the hold of Candy to make sure nobody goes for a quick swing. The position that PJH is playing was actually handed over by T1 last time, and it's a little bit dangerous to sort of play if they have the awareness. You don't have the ADS as well. It just takes a well-placed grenade to instantly pluck that player out of this round. But it's an important point to play because you make sure they don't just have that ability to swing in and drive themselves into the fights with any sort of ease. You are that instant response. And, well, he pops a couple of pellets, gives the game away that he's there and sort of says, come find me, and then pulls himself away so he doesn't suffer the immediate grenade. A huge rotate even. He's gone all the way back round. Mephi loses his shield, but it gives them control and gives them the pressure onto the other shield.
I have no clue how he lived there. It exploded right over his head. Either way, they are alive, and Salty from the window is going to be able to take out one. It opens up, and a second one. No time finds one more. He lines them up here, finds a second. Somehow the third escapes, but the plant can start to happen soon. Smoke canisters are being tossed in literally everywhere. PGH on the huge flank doesn't spot Candy in the corner. And Reject find another round, 5-5. And they're starting to close things up. 2 rounds away, and now the tactical timeout from T1 seems to be called here.
Now the timeout.
Now the actual timeout comes in. Now their 45 seconds start ticking. Because they need it.
3 deaths to repelling window players on that.
Almost 4.
side.
That should have been 4.
It's not good. It's not good. It's sort of that synonymous nature with what happens with T1. They just lose sight of what is going on. And it's this habitual thing, and it's something that we saw on some of their attacks. We're seeing it here on their defenses, as Reject are setting themselves in these positions, and then they're able to just punish them. They are forcing plays. 100% Reject are putting in the pressure on the site. We saw them dropping utility fantastically. We see them forcing movement from the use of the grenades over the top to Addicts so they can move into Trophy. All of those plays are coming together. But then the punishment, the double kill there, just on that connector window, it's these little mistakes and this loss of where is everybody, T1?
Yeah.
And they go, I don't know.
The awareness is that big issue, right? Like, they could have been aware of those repels. They make noise. You should be aware of the fact that, first of all, someone is coming up the kid's window. That one should have been known. I might get it if the connector one, you know, you might not be fully aware. If no one is playing close, you might not hear it. But after that first kill comes through, you should definitely be aware of the fact that someone could be playing there. Maybe, I don't know. It's just a slight maybe there. And T1, whilst they have the opportunity to lock themselves in, if they win the next 2 rounds for the playoffs, if they lose the next 2, we might actually see Reject steal that spot away at the end of next Playday. Now that will be a storyline. The new coming team losing most of their games at the start, but turning it around at the second half of the stage, suddenly making it to the playoffs.
2 halves to a stage.
Like there's 2 halves to a game of Siege.
2 halves to a game of Siege.
And some extra time.
Sometimes. Reject, you've pulled yourself back in with 2 rounds in a row. This is the first time they've been able to thread multiple rounds together throughout this whole game. Can they keep this train a-rolling and push it to the 3, the eponymous 3? So they are suddenly within points and almost within 3. Candy. He's going to go for this steady approach here. They're still getting themselves set up well. They're still making sure they don't suffer against these early games. They're cautious on their approach now. They know how close they are. And to be fair, this is that time when that pressure starts to mount. A steady clear here from the small tower across the bottom, taking out everything on the way. But you look at the hold that T1 have, and all of them are inside the basement.
Yeah, and to some extent, that might help Reject if they're quick on clearing out this first floor. If they suddenly have everything open up, many lines of sight to stop them from coming back, having opened up all the hatches, which they are currently doing so as well, it allows them time to waste magnets, to waste ADSs, to get these grenades to roll in right to where they are necessary. I mean, we saw it 2 days ago in EUL from G2. The 3 nades, 3-on-3, on the basement side. It is definitely possible if you manage to waste that utility. Of course, Kenny plays a big part in that. Wasn't quite able to find the hot pocket there, so that means there is still some time that might be wasted later on. So maybe, just maybe, the laundry side will not be the right choice to go for.
Well, they certainly say we know you're coming, but to be fair, that didn't really stop them so much of trying last time. It wasn't successful. It's the only defense T1 have been able to take here on this site, so they have to make sure it connects now, because if they lose this, Reject are in such a good position. Last time they went for a bit of a hot drop here, and 11 was able to do a lot of the work with that hefty SMG here on the bottom of the staircase, swinging between the pillar and Shaiko, and that's the importance of that position.
Oh, there's 2 of them.
That is 2 of them, and a hail of fire passes a Hellfire over the default plant spot.
Well placed there from the RC Retiro. Is going to be saving quite a bit of time here for the side of Reject. And look at Salty. He's quite close up already. The smoke canister will deal some tick damage though, but this grenade coming around the corner is going to give his position away for sure. He has the opportunity to hold off the rotate there. Sees another smoke canister being tossed in. Spots out the back of the Goyo as well, but he just needs to be patient here. 30 seconds left. Reject, can you win this?
Holding and waiting for the side of a hefty backpack, but it's not given. T1 are handing nothing over. They're waiting for the push, and it starts to come to a shove. The back door follows, but Salty, Candy, and Tadaniki take 1 apiece all over the shop. T1 have entirely been strong-armed off their own side. It's a 5 versus 1. An LMG is the only thing that greets 11, a post plant, and a 4 versus 1. A bit of a swing. There's a play around there, though, and Reject are the first to get themselves to map point and the only ones to have a shot at the full 3.
Now, the explosiveness we saw on their first attacking round, that's what I said. That is what I love to see. It worked out so well for them. They identified the issue, right? The player behind the bunk bed. They then exploded with 2 at the same time, allowing them to push up further individually. And to some extent, this is the same. You saw the RC, they're doing the prep work, the Twitch drones as well. You have 2 of these drones, 2 Twitch drones for RCs, both taking out hot pockets, barbed wire, ADSs, magnets. After that, suddenly the side is a lot weaker. Grenades start coming in, smoke start coming in, the push comes in from every single direction. You see 2 coming in from the laundry, 2 from the freezer side, and 1 inside of barrels. And suddenly everything falls their way. They're able to make these gunfights go their way and Reject. They almost locked it up with a flawless, and that's not something you see very often on a basement attack, like we just saw, because they just strong-armed themselves. They brute-forced themselves to the site. And now they are at match point. 1 more round, and they might pick up 3 points. And they need it if they want to go for a playoffs run. It is still possible if they do pick up those 3 points. Anything less will not suffice.
Wow, we said that they'd started to heat up leading into the second half, and sure, It was a 4-2 on the previous split, and it still can be that here, but I guess the difference that we're getting the true taste of is how Reject are playing, because they were disheveled. There were only 2 rounds they clutched out on their defense because of the work of a hefty shotgun. Here, the teamwork has been so sharp, especially in these last couple of rounds. This early utility game, I love. There's no real problems with their approach here. They're making sure they take out the important and integral bits, and T1, they're not really able to stop it. They've struggled to protect their shields, their utility in the precious bouts here and drives of those Flores drones or anything else that comes through. Concerned about a swing, but they have some of the support and that clarity. There's the drop. Are they going to see if they can try and impact trick this or stop this thermite popping off? No.
No, again, there is going to be serial laser gates on the wall, so it's going to be very hard to actually trick. As Kenny is sitting here with the Talon Shields, is looking for a way to put them into the right position, is waiting for an opening as well onto the attic just to provide some extra cover. But you got to be aware as well, there's still 2 RC Retiros left. If they do manage to find the second shield, suddenly all the strong positions on the back are going to be unplayable. And that might be what they're trying to go for next. The second Talon Shield will be placed on those big stairs. Now, he has the opportunity to watch his Crazy Boy, however, that finds Tadaniki, and that is going to be the diffuser drop. But it is still quite close to the actual site. Not really a big problem here. And with these RC Retiros now coming around the corner, this might actually spell the end of this shield and these ADSs. No, he gets muted just at the very final few seconds, and that is going to keep it and stay put.
Wow, that's an important mute jammer there, but they're still going to see if they can get the plant. The smoke stops that. Able to just get the catch. The gates get reactivated, and Mephi does too. Salty off the board. A huge player removed from this confrontation. The grenades are gone as well, and no time. Suddenly finds himself, well, in a bit of a tricky situation. He was the clutch out of this previously, but they had a post-plant last time round. The Ossa shield is placed aggressively. There's another canister there, but they're not overextending. Take at least finds the head of Crazy Boy on the swing round, and the pre-fires are still trying to connect with that other player on the back line of the shield, but again, they're making sure they don't suffer it. Another canister, and that's to try and stop the smoke getting the full play, but you're looking at about 40 seconds, about the chance here. They're just going to ping it off. They're keeping the cover. They're pre-firing with that LMG. That's what it's built for, and there it is over the top. No time gets that cover. No time gets all the cover. It's a 3 versus 1 out of nowhere. A huge play by Reject, and T1. Mephi is just pinging shots, hoping to get a connection. They've pulled back. They learned their lesson of how they almost dropped it before, and they had way less to work with. There's at least a catch. There's at least a player off the board here, but you have Take, you have No Time, who clutched this out by himself before with a hefty double kill and a swing round. Mephi is blind and making his way across. Gonna see if he can bait the first swing, the long arm, but Take has it. Reject have it. 3 points against the odds.
Very well played by them there, and I have to give them credit for how quick that last attack was. The RCEs that came in from the start did their jobs. They got rid of at least one of the shields. That's one position less playable, only forces you to take care of the other while you smoke off the rotation. And as they open up the wall that quickly, with 2 minutes left on the board, you're only going to be able to stall about 40 seconds with that smoke canister. The Talon shield goes down, you need an impact, you need a C4, or you need the control up from the attic. None of that was still available, and as a result, they were able to get the plan down in the end, and they were successful as well. 3 points towards Reject. Well played by them. The explosiveness surely has won them a lot of rounds here today, but I'm sure that our analysts, after the break, will be able to break that down just a little bit more.